ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Namaste, dear friends. I am going to make videos on Maharshi Ramana's book, that is Maharshi's Gospel, book 1 and 2. See, these books contain questions put by devotees and the answers given by Ramana Maharshi. In the minds of the devotees, there are many queries, many questions, many doubts, and many confusion. So these question answers, they will meet the desire of many devotees. So this book was prepared in response to the earnest desire of a large number of devotees of Bhagavan Sri Ramana. The answers to some of the questions put to him from time to time are printed in a book form under the title Maharshi's Gospel for the benefit of the world at large. These questions occur to ever so many of us, and we struggle within ourselves to solve them. The answers given by Maharshi are the quintessence of divine wisdom, based as they are on his direct knowledge and experience. His answers are of inestimable value to the earnest seeker of truth. The profound truth of Advaita, that the one and only reality is the self absolute or Brahma, has nowhere been more lucidly expounded than in these pages, because on the one hand it is on the basis of the highest experience that is his that Bhagwan Sri Ramana speaks, and on the other it is from the viewpoint of the common understanding of the layman that the aspirant seeks to know the truth. Truth is the same for one and all, and Sri Bhagwan directs the earnest aspirant to investigate and critically examine his own intimate experience and to seek for himself the core of his being, the heart, which is eternally identical with the one ultimate reality of which everything else seen or known is merely a phenomenal manifestation. Every word that comes from the lips of the sage is of the essence of Upanishadic wisdom, of which he is himself the supreme embodiment. The devout reader will find in these pages practical advice and will gain the conviction that his essential nature is divine. Dear friends, when you listen and see the video, It is my humble request that think over the meaning of the question and meaning of the answer. Then sit for some time, closing your eyes and contemplate. You will get the approval as well as further understanding of these question answers from your own self. Dear friends, have faith in your Atma. Your Atma is having the complete knowledge of Vedas, Upanishads, Shastras, Puranas, and almost all the holy scriptures. You have to believe in your own self until unless you have this firm belief in your own self, you will be having no use of reading any book or listening any discourse. Because if you don't have the faith in your Atma and you are reading a book, that reading will be confined to your mind. It will not be connected to the Atma. And my dear friend, all the spiritual knowledge must be connected to the Atma, and you have to get the approval and further understanding of the topic you are reading a book or just watching a video on the particular topic. Dear friend, this is very essential request. Otherwise, just you are reading the book or watching the video, and it is only you are confining to your mind and body and not connecting it to the Atma, you are wasting your time. See how to connect the topic you are listening, that is the way meditation and contemplation. In the beginning, you may feel some sort of a lethargic attitude, but put little bit efforts and then you will slowly and steadily you will be your mind will cooperate and you will start contemplating, and then you will actually get the a sense of the topics being read or watched on TV or just your laptop or computer. See, we have to follow certain, basic principles. Most of my dear friends, they just read or listen videos casually without putting efforts, completing, doing meditation and all. And then they, lose the interest. So your watching the video will be simply wastage of time. So this is most important. See, we have, without contemplation, spiritual matters cannot be understood. That is the most important thing, because see, spirituality is connected directly to the Atma. And mind and ego, they will always try to keep you away from the Atma. Now, I start the topic. The first topic is work and renunciation. Devotees, they have put questions to Maharshi Ramana, work and renunciation. See here, dear friends, as far as our Atma is concerned, we can realize our Atma through knowledge, not through work. This is very, very important point. Many people they have the thinking that just do some yagya, havan, give some, do some charity work, do some seva and all work and only work, and they are satisfied. But my dear friend, for self-realization, you have to put efforts through meditation and self-inquiry or surrender. There is no substitute for self-inquiry, meditation, and contemplation, etc. These are the most important sadhanas. Then renunciation is another word, always misunderstood. Renunciation does not mean that you leave your family life, go to jungle and all. Nothing is required, my dear friend. Be in your family life, earn money, no problem. Earn as much as you want with fair means. This will not become any hindrance in your sadhana. Just use the fair means, be honest to your profession wherever you are. So, renunciation is renounce leave the bad habits, leave all the bad, bad habits like anger, egoistic attitude, excessive greed, avarice, jealousy, cunningness, and etc. So this is you are leaving, you are keeping these bad habits away. That is renunciation. Not that you leave your family life, put this ochre robes and all. Nothing. That is the so. The first question, disciple puts the question to Maharshi. What is the highest goal of spiritual experience for man? Wonderful question. Maharshi says self-realization. Devotee, can a married man realize the self? See, this is what I was just now talking. Here comes the question. Can a married man realize the self? First, let us listen what Maharshi says. Certainly, married or unmarried, a man can realize the self because that is here and now. If it were so, but attainable by some effort at some time, and if it were new and had to be acquired, it would not be worth pursuit. Because what's not natural is not permanent either. But what I say is that the self is here and now and alone. I'll just put some more clarity to this. See, marriage is connected to body, and after marriage the person keeps the atma tuned to God. Your married life will not come in the way, because marriage is just body to body, and spiritual aspects they are between our Atma and God. And mind it further. We should not think God is separate, Atma is separate. Then that becomes the duality. And we have to understand non-duality. That is Advaitic Vedanta says our Atma and God are the same. There is no difference. So whether you are married man, you are doing business, you are doing job, these things will not come in the way. Only thing you have to free yourself from bad habits, and you have to live the life as an honest man, man of God. Keep your self awareness, self attention to your Atma, thereby to God. Because your Atma and God, there is no difference at all. You have to keep this in mind. Next question is put, devotee. A salt doll diving into the sea will not be protected by a waterproof coat. This world in which we have to toil day in and day out is like the ocean. Maharshi says, yes, the mind is the waterproof coat. Here, our mind, mind is the entity which can take a person to hell. At the same time, mind is the entity which can take a person to heaven. How this is? When the mind, all the 24 hours, is going outward into the materialistic world and completely away from the Atma, this means it is full of negativity. It is away from divinity. And this is the path on which our mind is treading, which will lead us to hell. But if by putting efforts, if we can redirect the mind from outward direction to inward direction, it will be full of positive energy. It will be connected directly to the Atma, and it is going towards the source, because for mind our Atma is the source. So mind is waterproof in the sense, when this mind is going outward, it is not going to help us as far as spiritual aspect is concerned. And if If we are only for materialistic pursuits, this mind will help us in earning more and more money, more and more property. But if we are interested in the spiritual pursuits, then we have to direct the mind towards the soul, towards the Atma. Then only it will be called waterproof. Because when mind is moving towards Atma, it is a pure mind. And this pure mind is nothing but Atma. Because basically, mind is originating from Atma only. So when this mind is directed to move toward the Atma, it becomes the part of Atma because already it is part of Atma. But when we are just making it away and away from Atma, then only it will become negative. Next question put by the devotee. So then, one may be engaged in work and free from desire. Keep up one's solitude, but life's duties allow little time to sit in meditation or even to pray. See, dear friends, this is a lame excuse. You have a little baby son at home and you are on your duty away from home. You love your baby, and all the time it is that baby's beautiful face and all is just circulating in your mind and all. Same way, whether you are in office or your shop, you have to have the connection with God. It will add, it will have the additive effect. Remember, so this will not happen now. Listen what Maharshi says. Maharshi says, yes, work performed with attachment is a shackle, whereas work performed with detachment does not affect the doer. He is, even while working, in solitude. To engage in your duty is the true namaskar, and abiding in God is the only true asana. So, while doing your work, tune yourself, tune your mind to the divinity. So, it will not hamper your work and you will be doubly benefited. You are moving towards the spirituality, so your spiritual pursuit is fulfilled and your materialistic this pursuit is also fulfilled. So duty and all will not, this spiritual aspect will not disturb you in your physical working. Now, next question, devotee. Should I not renounce my home? Mercy, if that had been your destiny, the question would not have arisen. See, renouncing the home is of no use. You have to renounce the bad thoughts that I already told. So, renunciation does not mean renounce your home, not required. Devotee. Why then did you leave your home in your youth? What a wonderful question. The devotee is asking, Maharshi, why did you leave your home in your youth? Maharshi, nothing happens except by divine dispensation. One's course of conduct in this life is determined by one's prarabdha. See, whatever we have done in our previous births, so result of these previous births, we are going to get the result and effect of that result we are going to get. So all our actions and all the happenings in our life is all due to prarabdha. That is the whatever we have done wrong or good, we may be rewarded for the good deeds and punished for the bad deeds. This is what prarabdha. The karmas in our previous lives are going to fructify in this present life. So these types of deeds, karmas, they come under prarabdha. The karmas which are going to give us punishment or reward. So these karmas come under the category of prarabdha. People call it fate, luck, all the so many names are there. Next question, devotee. Is it good to devote all my time to the search for the self? If that is impossible, should I merely keep quiet? Maharshi, if you can keep quiet without engaging in any other pursuit, it is very good. See, keep quiet in the sense not keeping quiet does not mean that you stop talking. No, keep quiet means the thoughts are stopped to arise. Ceasing of thoughts to arise from the Atma, that is the meaning of quiet. If that cannot be done, where is the use of being quiet so far as realization is concerned? So long as a person is obliged to be active, let him not give up attempt to realize the self. See, we should not be, we have to be very clear that our work, that may be office work or business or farming or anything, we have to just keep tuned to God. Next question. Do not, devotee puts the question, do not one's actions affect one in afterbirth? Maharshi, are you born now? Why do you think of other births? The fact is, there is neither birth nor death. Let him who is born think of death and palliative thereof. See, the simple meaning is our self is not born and it never dies. It is the body. So, the birth of body and death of body. And this body is insentient, it doesn't have any life. We say our body is live means there is Atma in the body. That time only this body is called in life. Otherwise, there is no life without Atma. So, death and birth is connected to the body. not to the Atma. Next question is put by the devotee. Can you show us the dead? Maharshi, did you know your kinsmen before their birth, that you should seek to know them after their death? What a wonderful answer. Devotee, how does a grihastha fare in the scheme of moksha? Should he not necessarily become a mendicant in order to attain liberation? See, for moksha or liberation, whether you are a mendicant, you are a sadhu, or you are a grihastha, a married man, it is not going to matter. How you are connecting yourself to divinity, that is the important point. Maharshi says, why do you think you are a grihastha? Similar thoughts that you are a sannyasi will haunt you even if you go out as a sannyasi. Whether you continue in the household or renounce it and go to the forest, your mind haunts you. The ego is the source of thought. It creates the body and the world, and it makes you think of being the grasta. If you renounce, it will only substitute the thought of sannyasa for that of grasta, and the environment of the forest for that of the household. But the mental obstacles are always there for you. They even increase greatly in the new surroundings. It is no help to change the environment. The one obstacle is the mind. It must be got over whether in the home or in the forest. If you can do it in the forest, why not in the home? Therefore, why change the environment? Your efforts can be made even now, whatever be the environment. Whether you are in home or you are in forest, your thoughts must be tuned to the divinity. That is important. Irrespective of your location, you may be at home or you may be in the forest. If your mind is going away from the Atma, then you are away from divinity. It is not going to help. But being in home, in the married life, and your mind is tuned to the divinity, you are better than a sannyasi who, being in the forest, but thinking about his home, which he has left, then he is not better than you. So, most important point is how your mind is connected to the world or connected to the Atma. So environment is not at all of any consequence. It is your thoughts. It is the status of your mind. It is tuned to the Atma's divinity or tuned to the materialistic world. Next question, devotee. Is it possible to enjoy samadhi while busy in worldly work? See, that's what I just now told. What is samadhi? Your mind is free from thoughts. If you have the silence, very less number of thoughts arise from the Atma, that is the state of silence. And thoughtlessness is the state what we call as samadhi. When our mind is directed towards the Atma and it merges into the Atma, mind is, you can say, dead, ego is dead, and new thoughts are not arising from the Atma, and you are in the state of peace and bliss. This is Samadhi. No new thoughts arise from the Atma, and mind is merged with the Atma. Ego is merged with the Atma. This is Samadhi. Now, what Maharshi says, just listen. The feeling I work is the hindrance. Ask yourself who works. Remember who you are. Then the work will not bind you. It will go on automatically. Make no effort either to work or to renounce. Your effort is the bondage. What is destined to happen will happen. So tune your mind to divinity and keep your body busy in your work. It will be easy, smooth working. Mind is tuned to the Atma. Body is doing work and make sure. Don't think that your mind is gone. See, when we say mind is destroyed in the sense, mind, what is mind? Thoughts coming from Atma. Arey, Atma never dies. Atma is there intact. So when we say mind is dead means you're you're working with your mind. Where from the mind is getting power? Mind is getting power from the Atma only. See, a self-realized says his mind is dead, we say his ego is dead, but he can work because Atma is the basic entity which helps the mind to think, mind to justify, mind to think, buddhi or mind or man. See, these are the part of Atma only. So, just do not think that you are working. Do not, this will keep you away from the, don't be doer. If you say, I am the doer, then you are doing a wrong thing. Because all the powers your body is getting from where? From the Atma. And what is Atma? Atma and Paramatma, same. That means it is not your body is working. It is your Atma that is the actual cause of work. If you are destined not to work, work cannot be had even if you hunt for it. If you are destined to work, you will not be able to avoid it. You will be forced to engage yourself in it. So, leave it to the higher power. You cannot renounce or return as you choose. What is your higher power? Your Atma. Next question. Devotee. Bhagwan said yesterday that while one is engaged in search of God within, outer work would go on automatically. In the life of Sri Chaitanya, it is said that during his lectures to students, he was really seeking Krishna, self within, forgot all about his body, and he went on talking of Krishna only. This raises a doubt whether work can safely be left to itself. Should one keep part attention on the physical work? Wonderful question. What Maharshi says, the self is all. Are you apart from the self? Are you? Are you means that is your ego. Is your ego apart from the self? Or can the work go on without the self? The self is universal. So, all actions will go on whether you strain yourself to be engaged in them or not. The work will go on of itself. Thus, Krishna told Arjuna that he need not trouble to kill the Kauravas. They were already slain by God. It was not for him to resolve to work and worry himself about it, but to allow his own nature to carry out the will of the higher power. Devotee. But the work may suffer if I do not attend to it. Maharshi says, attending to the self means attending to the work. Important point to understand. See, we think that we work by the involvement of mind only, but mind is originated from where? From Atma. If this mind is tuned to Atma, work will not happen. Even if mind is not directed to Atma, still the mind is getting power from Atma only. So, if the mind is directed to Atma, still the work will carry on. Why? Because in both the cases, mind going outward also, mind is getting power from Atma. Mind directed to the Atma also getting power from the Atma. So it is the Atma that is doing the work through our body because the provider of energy and power to the mind is Atma only. So, if we tune this mind or direct this mind away from the world towards the Atma, it is having a double advantage. Your work will not hamper and your mind will become pure or part of Atma. So, you are progressing both on your physical level and your spiritual level. Again, I repeat this answer. Attending to the self means attending to the work. How? Because when you say your mind is working, your mind is directing our organs to work, but the mind is insentient. The mind is getting power from Atma only in this case. And if this mind is directed towards Atma, still it is getting power from Atma only. And your work will be on because originally it is the Atma that is helping in the completion of work. Because you identify yourself with the body. You think that work is done by you. Here, you means ego. Ego means modified mind. But the body and its activities, including that work, are not apart from the self. This is what I told you. Because your ego, your mind, the source of power for them is Atma only. What does it matter whether you attend to the work or not? Suppose you walk from one place to another. You do not attend to the steps you take, yet you find yourself after a time at your goal. You see how the business of walking goes on without your attending to it. So also with other kinds of work. So the basic meaning of this whole conversation is that if your mind is moving towards Atma, your work will be done in the same way. Why? Because we think we are getting orders from the mind and our organs, they work. But mind being insentient, mind is getting the power, or the mind is just nothing other than reflection of Atma only. Because the basic entity is Atma and all thoughts arise from this Atma and constitute this mind. So, this is our ignorance that if our mind is tuned to Atma, our work will be hampered, but that is wrong. Because basically, it is our Atma that is providing all the energy to the mind, to the organs, to every part of our body is getting power from Atma only. So that is the generator for energy and power that is providing, transmitting power to each and every part of our body. So this is due to out of ignorance only we think that if we tune our mind to the Atma, our work will not be completed, but that is wrong. I think the points will, but you have to sit and just coordinate these points. After some time, you will realize when you are contemplating and you are doing meditation, that time everything will be clear. Because the basic understanding comes when you contemplate, when you tune your mind and ego to Atma. If you don't tune to your Atma, don't sit for meditation, don't contemplate, you will not understand. Because these doubts will keep you away from Atma. So these doubts will be amplified. Doubts amplified, and more doubts will be arising. So basic thing is Just after listening, analyze, contemplate, and in meditation, your Atma will give each and every answer. You will get the clarification from your Atma. Because the spiritual question answers they are analyzed while sitting in meditation and contemplation. Spiritual pursuits, they are done through meditation and contemplation. When we listen, that is servant, that will be through our ears, and they will just be confined to mind, buddhi, and ego. So they will be some part understood, some part misunderstood. Then there is some confusion, there is some doubt, and finally, whatever little bit understanding was there, that will also be erased. And finally, you are there where from you started. But if you sit, meditate, contemplate, and surrender to your Atma, surrender to your higher power, that, oh my Atma, oh my omnipotent self, help me to understand this point. Definitely, 100% you will get the correct answer. Your all doubts will be cleared, and the each and every point will become clear. You have to put efforts. That is the basic thing. See, if we do not sit in meditation and contemplation, these doubts, these questions, these queries, some sort of understanding, some sort of misunderstanding, it will be nothing but confusion. And confusion creates ignorance. So we have to think ourselves, having the belief that our Atma knows each and every spiritual aspect. Devotee puts the question. It is then like sleepwalking. Maharshi says, like somnambulism. Quite so. When a child is fast asleep, his mother feeds him. The child eats the food just as well as when he is fully awake. But the next morning he says to the mother, Mother, I did not take food last night. The mother and others know that he did, but he says that he did not. He was not aware. Still, the action had gone on. A traveler in a cart has fallen asleep. The bulls move, stand still, or are unyoked during the journey. He does not know these events but finds himself in a different place after he wakes up. He has been blissfully ignorant of the occurrences on the way, but the journey has been finished. Similarly, with the self of a person. The ever wakeful self is compared to the traveler asleep in the cart. The waking state is the moving of the bulls. Samadhi is there standing still because Samadhi means Jagrati Susupti. That is to say, the person is aware but not concerned in the action. The bulls are yoked but do not move. Sleep is the unyoking of the bulls. For there is complete stopping of activity corresponding to the relief of the bulls from the yoke. Or again, take the instance of the cinema. Scenes are projected on the screen in the cinema show, but the moving pictures do not affect or alter the screen. The spectator pays attention to them, not to the screen. They cannot exist apart from the screen, yet the screen is ignored. So also the self is the screen where the pictures, activities, etc. are seen going on. The man is aware of the latter but not aware of the essential former. All the same, the world of pictures is not apart from the self. Whether he is aware of the screen or unaware, the actions will continue. Next question is put to Maharshi. But there is an operator in the cinema. Maharshi. Devotees ask the question, but there is an operator in the cinema. Maharshi. The cinema show is made out of insentient materials. The lamp, the pictures, the screen, etc., are all insentient, and so they need an operator. The sentient agent, on the other hand, the self is absolute consciousness and therefore self contained. There cannot be an operator apart from the self. Devotee. I am not confusing the body with the operator. Rather, I am referring to Krishna's words in the 61st verse, chapter 18 of the Gita. ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृदयेषु अर्जुन तिष्ठति ब्राह्म्यंस सर्वभूतानि यन्वातुधानि maya. Meaning, the Lord, O Arjuna, dwells in the heart of every being, and he, by his delusive power, spins round all beings, set as if on a machine. Maharshi, the functions of the body involving the need for an operator are born in mind. Since the body is zada or insentient, a sentient operator is necessary because people think that they are jivas. Krishna said that God resides in the heart as the operator of the jivas. In fact, there are no jivas and no operator. As it were, outside them, the self comprises all. It is the screen, the pictures, the seer, the actors, the operator, the light, the theater, and all else. You're confounding the self with the body and imagining yourself. The actor is like the seer representing himself as an actor in the cinema show. Imagine the actor asking if he can enact a scene without the screen. Such is the case of the man who thinks of his actions apart from the self. Next question put by the devotee. On the other hand, it is like asking the spectator to act in the cinema picture. So we must learn sleepwalking. Maharshi, actions and states are according to one's point of view. A crow, an elephant, a snake, each makes use of one limb for two alternate purposes. With one eye, the crow looks on either side. For the elephant, the trunk serves the purpose of both a hand, a nose, and the serpent sees as well as hears with its eyes. Whether you say the crow has an eye or eyes, or refer to the trunk of the elephant as hand or nose, or call the eyes of the serpent its ears, it means all the same. Similarly, in the case of the jnani, sleepwalking or walking sleep or dream sleep or dreaming wakefulness are all much the same thing. Devotee puts the question, but we have to deal with a physical body in a physical waking world. If we sleep while work is going on or try to work while asleep, the work will go wrong. Maharshi, sleep is not ignorance, it is one's pure state. Wakefulness is not knowledge, it is ignorance. There is full awareness in sleep and total ignorance in waking. Your real nature covers both and extends beyond. The self is beyond both knowledge and ignorance. Sleep, dream, and waking states are only modes passing before the self. They proceed whether you are aware of them or not. That is the state of the jnani in whom pass the states of samadhi, waking dream, and dream sleep. Like the bulls moving, standing, or being unyoked while the passenger is asleep. These answers are from the point of view of the Agyani. Otherwise, such questions would not arise. Devotee. Of course, they cannot arise from the self. Who would be there to ask? But unfortunately, I have not yet realized the self, Maharshi. That is just the obstacle in your way. You must get rid of the idea that you are an Agyani and have yet to realize the self. You are the self. Was there every time when you were not aware of that self? Devotee. So, we must experiment in sleepwalking or in daydreaming. Maharshi laughs. Devotee, I maintain that the physical body of the man emerged in samadhi as a result of the unbroken contemplation of the self may become motionless for that reason. It may be active or inactive. The mind established in such contemplation will not be affected by the movements of the body or the senses, nor is disturbance of the mind the forerunner of physical activity, whereas another person asserts that physical activity certainly prevents samadhi or unbroken contemplation. What is Bhagwan's opinion? You are the abiding proof of any statement. Maharshi, Both of you are right. You refer to Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi and the other refers to Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In the latter case, the mind lies immersed in the light of the self, whereas the mind lies in the darkness of ignorance in deep sleep. And the subject makes a distinction between samadhi and activity after waking up from samadhi. Moreover, activity of the body, of the sight, of the vital forces, and of the mind, and the cognizance of objects, all these are obstructions for one who seeks to realize Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So here is a note. The word contemplation is often used loosely as referring to a forced mental process, whereas samadhi lies beyond effort. However, in the language of Christian mysticism, contemplation is the synonym invariably used for samadhi, and it is in this sense the word is used above. In Sahaja Samadhi, however, the mind has a resolved into the self and has been lost. The differences and obstructions mentioned above do not therefore exist here. The activities of such a being are like the feeding of a somnolent boy, perceptible to the onlooker but not to the subject. The traveler sleeping in the moving cart is not aware of the motion of the cart because his mind is sunk in darkness, whereas the Sahaja Jnani remains unaware of his bodily activities because of his mind is dead, having been resolved into the ecstasy of Chidananda, bliss of the self. Note the distinction between sleep Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi can be clearly put in a tabular form as given by Sri Bhagwan. So I will so I end the video here. So thank you for your patience. You have listened and watched this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you, my dear friends. Namaste.